My name is Mespa. I'm one of the founders of Circularize. We bring traceability to global supply chains to enable companies to transition to a circular economy. One of the most important things in a circular economy is being able to share the right information with the right party at the right time. And today, information sharing between supply chain actors is nothing more than sending emails and Excel sheets and PDF documents. Essentially, there is no infrastructure, which is what I found out when I was graduating at the Delft University of Technology in 2016. If you happen to, be at a recycling company and you recycle, let's say, old electronics, you often have no idea what's in these old electronics. And the way to find out is to just look up some general information in a book or send an email to the manufacturer. But this manufacturer often doesn't manufacture the complete product. They have suppliers and their suppliers have suppliers. So it's almost an impossible task to figure this out. So we set out to create an infrastructure, a protocol that allows these complex, highly privacy-preserving, confidential supply chains to exchange information without risking their confidentiality or privacy. And the reason why this is so important is that without the right information, materials and resources are a little bit worthless. But with the right information, they can be worth a lot of money. And we have tested this by going to a recycling company and seeing how efficient they are in their processes, doing what they do without any real data. And then we equipped them with the right data and saw a significant 2 to 3 times efficiency improvement just within 24 hours. So imagine what you can do with recycling or refurbishing if you would have all the right information around a product at the tip of your fingers. So that's why we built Circularize. And the most interesting use case today is to work with manufacturing companies who would like to prove that their products, let's say their raw materials or their polymers or their aluminum, is made in a sustainable fashion, meaning that it consumes less energy to manufacture or it has a lower carbon footprint. But the problem is that they cannot communicate this to their customers and their customers of their customers, again, because of the same lack of infrastructure. Using our system, this becomes very easy and trustworthy without having to rely on a lot of manual work. So the way it works is that we create a digital version for every kilogram of material or product or physical asset. And that digital material or digital asset travels through the supply chain in the same way as the physical material. And it has characteristics in the digital space that are mimicking the physical space. One of them is you can't create material out of thin air. Using blockchain, we can make sure that you can create digital materials out of thin air. You can limit them just as you can't create a Bitcoin out of thin air. There is a set rule, and that's how the system behaves. So we're trying to mimic physical properties of physical goods and physical manufacturing processes into a digital space using blockchain, creating a very high level of trust and enabling these self-sovereign digital identities to travel through the manufacturing steps similar to the actual physical materials. And at the end of the supply chain, if you're a brand owner, you will not only receive a product or an assembly or a part from your suppliers, but you would also receive that digital version, digital twin. And that digital twin gives you the ability to look back into that supply chain and figure out how it was manufactured, where it was manufactured, what's in there, what's not in there, etc. All in a way that it doesn't hurt the privacy and confidentiality of that supply chain. Because if it would, it's very complicated to get companies on board. In a nutshell, we're bringing transparency without risking privacy. And we do that with not just blockchain, but we also have a patent pending technology that we connect with the blockchain we call smart questioning, which allows you to give insights into very secret data without sharing that data, not even with us. So we started this as a university project back in 2016, and we got a small funding from EIT Raw Materials. which allowed us to pursue this dream after university as well as a full-time job, and have managed to get some traction with some customers as well as with some companies in other spaces beyond electronics, because that's where it started. And we have had a focus for several years now on plastics and chemicals because we see a lot of interesting companies there in that space. The industry is obviously under a lot of pressure, having things like ocean plastics as being a big deal. So we want to move towards a more sustainable industry. But at the same time, we also see interests from the critical raw material space, mostly because it's strategically a very interesting space to be in. There are not thousands of suppliers, so we could relatively easily capture a large portion of the supply chain. And because they are so critical, we would get a very easy foothold into many different industries. One of the most important things about the industry that we are in is the network effect. The more manufacturers and suppliers we have on a system, the more value we can bring. So speaking of value, the most important thing that we have learned is that the system is not going to be used and adopted if it doesn't bring immediate short-term value for every single company. Obviously, it brings tremendous value for a circular economy, but that's a long-term thing. It won't happen in the next 3 months or in the next 6 months. And we found out that a lot of the value that we see for companies in the short term has to do with proving that something is sustainable in a marketplace where everybody is shouting that they're sustainable. This in turn will put a premium on those materials that are actually proven to be sustainable. And more brands and retailers are looking for this and are not accepting unsubstantiated claims anymore from their suppliers. Another reason why many brands are interested in more traceability and such tools is that there is more and more regulation, especially in Europe. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an overview of where we come from and why we do what we do. Thank you.